Welcome, brothers and sisters, welcome to Triple Grace, welcome to another video. My name is Michael, I'm the founder of Triple Grace and the Righteous Path Movement Foundation. And today we are talking about the kingdom of heaven and the principle of family. Brothers and sisters, your home is not on this world. In this world, it's not on this earth. Brothers and sisters, your home is the heavenly kingdom. And as such, you are a true son and daughter of the Most High. And as Esther, now we are in the time of Purim, happy Purim, and as Esther, you are called for such a time as this to the kingdom. Now, brothers and sisters, our time has come to return to our true home, to return to the kingdom of heaven. You do not belong into this world. You do not belong into the beast system. You do not belong to Satan. You belong to the King in heaven, to God the Father, because you are the true adopted sons and daughters. And as such, you are a co-heir with Jesus Christ. And if you belong to the heavenly kingdom, then if you're here on earth, then you represent the heavenly kingdom here down on earth. And that's the reason why we establish the embassies of the kingdom of heaven here on earth right now in all the nations. And you can open one too. There's a link to a video that is very important in the first pinned comment. Go and watch it. Brothers and sisters, you are part of the heavenly family. God has created Adam and Eve in his image. So you are part of the heavenly kingdom. Only the enemy wants to put it inside you that you belong to the world, that you belong to money making, that you belong to careers, that you belong to worldly desires, that you belong to football and soccer and whatever. But you belong to the heavenly kingdom. And the principle of the heavenly kingdom is a great family. God the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. And as a king, he has his court and his subjects in heaven. And this is all of us together. All. But you must return to your first love. You must return to heaven. Only when you return to heaven and employ the principles of love, compassion and mercy from heaven, and show forth the love of the King who sits on the throne in heaven, God the Father, to your neighborhoods, only then you will fulfill your destiny. If Jesus Christ was sent by the Father to set this world free, and he is the Son of God, and you are the adopted sons and daughters of God, then what is your destiny? To walk in the same way as Jesus Christ did, to be a true copy here on earth, to be an ambassador and a representative of heaven, and nothing shorter than that. To be an ambassador of heaven is the highest position that can be bestowed on you outside of heaven. But you are not embracing it. You are playing with the world. You are giving your allegiance to the enemy, to Satan, instead to live your destiny as a representative of heaven, as a true son and daughter of the Most High. Now you will ask me, Michael, how do we do that? Establish a dwelling place of Zion. Establish your embassy of heaven in your area, in your neighborhood. Show forth the people the principles of heaven in the same way as an ambassador would show forth the principle of his home country to the country where he is employed. But now you are not doing it. Now you're following in the same rules of the place that you were employed. That would mean an ambassador in Syria would act as a Syrian, or an ambassador to Turkey would act as a Turkish man. But he is not. He was sent there to show forth how let's say for the Americans, and how the American way of life is, and how the accomplishment and their statutes and their laws and everything will function. That's the reason why the ambassador was sent to Turkey. You were sent with your birth to this world as a representative of heaven to show forth the principles of heaven. But instead that you mingle with the nation that you are sent to. And you have become somebody of that nation, belonging to the beast system, belonging to the worldly system, instead to show forth that you are a foreign entity in your nation, as an embassy is. An embassy is a foreign entity in the nation that it is employed, where it is located. It is a foreign entity, and nobody can enter it. No force of that nation has a right to enter it, because there is this immunity. There is diplomatic immunity, and you have the same from heaven. But you mingle with the nations. You become the nations instead to remain the foreign entity in your town. You do not belong to this world. You are true son and daughter of the heavenly kingdom, brothers and sisters. Now it's the time to show it forth. Now it's the time to raise the flag at your place and say, no, I do not belong to this world. I belong to the kingdom of heaven, and my Father is the King who sits on the throne. And as such I go forth, like Esther, because I was called for such a time as this to the kingdom. I have returned, and I show my power now to my neighborhoods, because I belong to the kingdom of heaven. And I am part of that huge family where my Father is the king and I am royalty. I am a prince or a princess of heaven. And I will show forth in the neighborhoods all the statutes, the laws, and all the principles of heaven. And I will apply it there and show forth examples of light for all to see. And then the people will be drawn to this light. Because I am an ambassador of heaven, a representative of the heavenly kingdom, a foreign entity in this world. I do not belong here into the nations. I am not a German, I'm not an American, I'm not whatever I am. I'm not an Australian. I do not belong there. I am a child of the Most High. I am the son or daughter of the King. Now we have to treat our places as such and make them embassies of heaven, holy places. Establish the dwelling places of Zion in your neighborhood. Gather the people together. Train and teach them in the ways of heaven. Go out in the neighborhoods, lift up the people, show forth the love of the Father, and act in His name, because He is your commander and He is your ruler. He is your King. And as such you go forth in the same way with power and with might as Esther did to see the King and ask for help, and the Father will give you all the provision and everything what you need so that you can establish your embassies of heaven here on earth. Be part of that great family. Receive the blessing of the family. But act in the ways of the family. Don't mingle with the world what you do right now. Even your churches are worldly. They have nothing to do with the heavenly kingdom. The heavenly kingdom is a way of life. Principles, laws, statutes, of everything. Even the angels have to follow everything. The saints in heaven will follow all these ways of heaven. But you don't. You follow the ways of the world. Why? If you are a son of the King, why are you rejecting the King every day? Why are you not stepping forth as a representative and fulfill your obligation as an ambassador of heaven? Why are you not going forth and show the way that heaven is working with love, compassion, unity, support? Why are you not saying anything to what the Lord is giving to you? Why are you quiet, and why are you listening to your false pastors and preachers that you have there, who tells you, oh, everything what you do in the world is good, and then one day you will be taken out and taken back to the kingdom? Why should God take you back to His kingdom if you're not doing anything for Him? It's not done through worldly charities or worldly desires or worldly whatever. It's not done through that. It's not even done through fasting and prayers. As a prince or princess of the heavenly kingdom, you have to act as a prince or princess, a daughter of the king or the son of the king. But you're very far away from that. You follow your own desires. You follow your own things. That would be an estranged son of a king who would become a playboy. We have seen it many times in the houses of kings here in this world, where you have an estranged son or daughter who becomes a playboy, joining around everywhere, become worldly so much that he forgets all his duty towards the kingdom. And that's the same with you. You have forsaken all your duty. You have gone to the enemy side. But now it's a time like Esther. You are called for such a time as this to return to the kingdom and to be the representative and to open your embassy of heaven in your places. To gather the people, to show them forth the principles, to train and teach them, and to set them free from this world, because they do not belong there. They belong to the heavenly kingdom. Your destiny, your duty, to walk as Jesus did. He was on earth, because he was a son of God, and he walked as a son of God in this world. But you don't, but you must. You are a representative, or you will be punished if you do not fulfill your duties. What would happen if Jesus would have said, "Oh, I don't care, and I do whatever I want"? This is what we call Christianity today, would have not been established. Also, we must say that Christianity today has gone very, very far away from the kingdom of heaven. Brothers and sisters, return to the kingdom. Return back to the family. Say to the Lord, "I'm so sorry that I went into the world and have forgotten about you." Return to the Father again. Turn your hearts and return. Return to your first love. Repent. Come out of the world and out of Babylon. Build an embassy of heaven in this world. Be a foreign entity in these nations and show them the principles, the laws and statutes and the ways of heaven. Brothers and sisters, it's our time to be the Esthers. It's our time to be the true bride of Christ. It's our time to come back to the kingdom, to go before the king and plead for our people, so that you will be able to gather them together, the multitude clothed in white, that will be raptured at the sixth seal, when Mount Zion will come down. And the people are afraid, because they see the king sitting on the throne and the lamb, and they are afraid and hide in the mountains. But we are standing at the base of that Mount Zion, and we will be raptured into paradise. Why? Because our names will be written in heaven as the true sons and daughters of the Most High, as the ones who are a foreign entity in this world, who have separated themselves from this world and have returned to the kingdom of God, have returned to the family of the Lord, and are true sons and daughters of the King who sits in the throne in heaven. Brothers and sisters, our time to start the embassies, our time to bring forth the dwelling places of Zion, so that we can train and teach the people about the ways of heaven. As a true ambassador, as a foreign entity in your nation, it's your time now, no matter where you are, in Africa, in Australia, in Asia, in Europe, in North or South America, it doesn't matter where you are. Build an embassy of heaven in your places. Gather the people together. Show them forth how the kingdom of heaven is operating. Tell them that the king who sits on the throne is their father. And they are the adopted sons and daughters of the Most High. And as such, they have to walk in the principles of heaven. And you too, and show them that through examples, so that they will see the light, and that they will be drawn to the light, and that they will come together in love, unity, and support. Brothers and sisters, join us in the kingdom. Join us and see the principles of heaven employed. Show the world that you do not belong to Satan. Show the world that you do not belong to Mammon. Show the world that you do not belong to any demonic forces, but that you belong to the King sitting in the throne in heaven. Brothers and sisters, I love you all so dearly. So let us come together in love, unity and support and build the embassies of heaven in the nations. If you have any questions, contact me. If you have in the next 7 days a vision of the Lord or a dream of the Lord to establish your embassy of heaven, contact me right away at triplegrace55@gmail.com. And then we will discuss how we continue, how will it be possible to connect the people together, and what will be the next steps and all what God has shown me for you to help you. Brothers and sisters, it's the time to unite together. The true sons and daughters of God must unite together right now, because there is a great judgment coming. And we must show the world and bring in the last harvest for the rapture before it will be too late. And you can only do that by showing forth that you do not belong to the world, and by showing forth the ways and principles of heaven. Show it into your neighborhoods and gather the people and the lost sheep together. Present it to the lukewarm churches. Show examples of light wherever you go. Be a good Samaritan to all the people. Love your neighbor as yourself, and especially love the King who sits on the throne, God the Father, above all else. Brothers and sisters, this is our time to come together. Join us. We have a website, triple-grace.com, and there we have registries. Registries as a powerful warrior in the army of the Lord. That will be your ambassador registry. And then we have a registry for the dwelling places of Zion, the embassies of heaven. And we have a registry where you can register your YouTube channel who want to be part of this return to the kingdom, the return to the family. There, if you want to be part of that with your YouTube channel, you can register your YouTube channel there. And then people can see and watch your videos that will also have a similar notion that what I'm bringing forward here. The return to the kingdom. Now it's a time. Now it's a time to tell the world that you do not belong to them, but that you are a foreign entity, an ambassador of heaven, and that you create an embassy of heaven in your place, where the people can see the principles, the ways, the statutes and the laws of heaven, where they can learn how heaven is functioning. And then they can join and come together in love, unity and support. And we will bring in the harvest of the ages, the multitude clothed in white, who are the spirit of just men made perfect, of Hebrews 12, verse 25. Let us all come together and bring all the embassies of heaven, all the dwelling places of Zion together into one unity, into the commonwealth of God, the great assembly mentioned also in Hebrews 12:25. Brothers and sisters, our time has come to bring heaven down onto the earth by establishing the embassies of heaven. This is the only solution against all the problems in this world. And you are called, like Esther, on Purim, for such a time as this, to go to the kingdom, to return to the kingdom, and to show forth the kingdom for all the people to see. Do not be afraid. No matter what you have done, the King will accept you. Return to your first love. Return to your kingdom. Return to your true family. Brothers and sisters, please contact me at triplegrace55@gmail.com if you see the truth in it, and if you start to establish an embassy of heaven, contact me. Let us bring it forth. Let people see it. That many people will come forth and find their way back to the kingdom of heaven. Find their way back to the Father. Let us start it. Let us show our light forth in all the nations. Let us register thousands of embassies of heaven in the world. And let us be the fortresses of light. And let us raise the flag in our buildings, and let us be the banner and standard that the Lord is raising against the dark flood. Let us separate completely from the beast system and be part of the heavenly kingdom as the true sons and daughters of the Most High. Thank you that you have listened to this video, and I hope you get blessed and come forth and establish now the embassies of heaven. Please follow the link in the first pinned comment so that you can see that video about the ambassadors of heaven, and that you can also see about the dress rehearsal of the kingdom. And There is also a link to the registries of the powerful warriors, the ambassadors of heaven, and the embassies of heaven. Please follow there and register your places so that you are called forth as a true son and daughter of the Most High. Have a great day in the Lord. Be blessed. Maranatha.